That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Receivers, and this time he lost one and it's picked off.
And Brady and Moss hook off great football players, showing why they're great.
He's got it. 20, 10. He's got it. End zone. Touchdown Titans.
Well, happy Wednesday, you fantasy football degens. Getting right down to it. Had a great weekend of playoffs, a little unexpected, a little snow, a little bit of ice, a little bit of mud, a little backup quarterback, some Hall of Famer potentials that didn't produce and win in the end. But it was a great weekend of football, and we got a great Super Bowl to look forward to. We got an action-packed filled show. So be patient with me. I've been working a lot of hours, and I got a long drive. I drive 108 miles one way to work every day, so don't want to make excuses, but today was very haphazard to get prepared for the show. But we made it. We've got a pretty good show for the little time of prep that I had. So we're going to bring it to you, starting off with our sponsors. Want to thank Premier Properties, like always. Steve and Nikki, we appreciate everything you do for us from a financial standpoint and also from a legal standpoint. And that is becoming more relevant every single day of the week. We appreciate you funding us and supporting us and believing in our vision for fantasy football players in the DFS community. Want to thank the Freaky Tiki with Norm out here in Hernando Beach. We love your nightly guided tours, even though the weather's real bad right now. I know you're still getting pretty good response because the folks here in Hernando Beach in Central Florida like to go out and party out on the Gulf, and they like their little sunsets and their little wine tours, bring your own type of deal out there. It's great entertainment. It's great fun. Would also like to thank Selected Truck Brokers in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I don't know about you guys in Grand Rapids. I don't know what happened after I left up there, but y'all don't know how to drive, because every day down here in Southern Florida, I see some type of wreck up in your snowstorms, and it's like just major. But y'all stay safe up there with the snow and ice. We're not having it all that great down here in Florida right now either. It's been cold and looking to get real cold this weekend. So keep them pool pumps running on manual. Don't put it on automatic, or you may have a problem with your pool pumps freezing up, you Floridians and snowbirds. Keep track of that. All right, guys, I'm going to give you a little preview of where we're headed tonight, just so you know show-wise what to expect, whether you want to stick around, whether you want to check out. We're going to talk a little bit about head coaching changes. You know, the carousel's hot and heavy right now with the coaches. It's wrapping up. I think we got two left. We got the Raiders and the Cardinals left for head coaching positions. We filled a lot of these OCs and defensive coordinator positions. A lot of hype with those. We had big Hall of Fame results today coming out. I think Bill Belichick definitely wrapped up the headlines in today's sports news. Down here, we got the hockey stadium series playing outside in Southern Florida. Now, who would have thought you could take ice, put it outside at Raymond James Stadium where the Bucks play, put it outside, have a hockey game in February, and really think you're going to have ice to play on? Well, guess what, folks? We're supposed to have like mid-40s, low 30s, possible sleet and rain and possible snow coming in for Sunday night's game. So that would be historic. With Gasparilla going on, what a party Tampa Bay would be. That's going to be history. And then we got some major shakeups in the fantasy football realm this week. I'm not talking Ballsville. I'm not talking about all the past bullshit. I'm talking about some new stuff going on in your fantasy leagues from a pretty big player that had a pretty big shakeup this week. And I'm talking about Reckless Ted, and I'm talking about the Funland. It may be over, guys. So you're looking at 400 fantasy football players looking for a new home, looking for what the hell do we do to get paid? What the hell do we do going forward? I've spent my 2027 picks already. I've been trying to build a dynasty league, and now where's Reckless Ted? Where's White Yoshi? All of that is going down, and it's a big story in the fantasy world. So, you know, they got 2,500, 2,300 Discord followers, and it's shut down. So stay tuned. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. I'm involved in some of those leagues, so it's been drama, like Trader Clem would say. Drama free? No, it ain't been drama free around here, bro. We thrive on the drama. We like it. It's great content, and we have fun with it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that a little later. But we're going to start the show off tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about this deal. One of the other head coaching positions that was filled this week, Todd Monken, offensive coordinator from the Ravens under John Harbaugh. He took the challenge. He's going to go ahead and try to head coach the Cleveland Browns. I don't know what y'all think about this head coaching change. He didn't quite make the cut down here offensive coordinator-wise. I was told it was nothing he rejected. It was definitely the Bucs that said no to Todd Monken. I look forward to this, in all honesty. I think it could be good for their offense. I think it could be good for the Cleveland Browns. However, I do think it'll be a one-and-done at the end of the day, but I think they'll be a little more competitive just because of the time of the Browns maturing. They'll be a better football team, not so much for because of Todd Monken, but I think this is a good move, good hire. Let's get it out of the way. Let's get going forward. However, there was some fallout with this, and the fallout was this. All right, Schwartz said, take this job and shove it, because if you didn't want to give me the head coaching job, I don't need your shit. I'm out. Now, Jim Schwartz was head coach up at the Lions back in the day. You know, I'm from Michigan. I thought he did a decent job as a head coach at the Lions. I think he's a great defensive coordinator. This cat is not going to have a problem with finding at least a defensive coordinator job. So, there's a few of those open, and I would look to see it filled this next week before the Super Bowl happens. I think he may end up at the 49ers with Saleh leaving and headed over to Tennessee. I think he may find a real great landing spot out there in San Francisco. That's just kind of my take on that. But this is a big loss for the Cleveland Browns. It's a shame that the management in Cleveland can't get their shit together and actually think straight. They follow right behind the Jets. I don't know which one of them is worse, the Jets or the Cleveland Browns. But when it comes to front office decision making, they both suck, and that's a big loss for the Browns. I love Jim Schwartz. He's a great defensive coordinator. I hope he gets a good landing spot. I would love to see him be a head coach again someday. But I honestly think 2026, he will land a defensive coordinator job with the San Francisco 49ers is my take on that. All right, let's go a little bit local for Jimbos. I pegged this one last week. I said Zach Robinson was the best choice for the Bucs. They made the best choice. This is kind of a unique deal. You know, he did a online interview, and then he also came down here to Tampa and did a, in-house interview. And what's really unique about this is Jason Light's not a dummy. I think he had to tell Todd Bowles at the end of this interview, dude, you can't let this fish go like you did Liam Cohen. We can't do this 2 years in a row. So what actually happened with this, and it's kind of funny because I was in-house at Tampa Bay while this interview was going down. I wasn't actually near it or around it, but I was in the facility at the time Zach Robinson was in town. And the buzz was just cool as hell. Everybody loved him. Some of us got the chance to see him come in the building, which I did. And it had a great feel to it. And then when he left the building, it was kind of like, did they hire him? Did they not hire him? What's going to happen? And so anyways, as this went on, a little later on in the afternoon, this cat shows up at the airport, and there's like all kinds of media people at the airport asking him questions. I was not at the airport. However, I had some friends at the airport that were interviewing him, and he's like getting ready to leave. And his phone rings, and it was Todd Bowles. And Todd told him, we want to hire you. And it was so cool because I was fixing to pull out of Tampa Bay and head home. And a buddy of mine called me and said, hey, dude, they just sent him a ride, and they're sending him to the motel. He's coming back for tomorrow. And I said, what? So I turned around and come back. A bunch of us media guys, we sat at the local place we hang out. And we were all like, what do we do? What do we do? Can we get a story? Can we get a story? Well, I'm so new at all this media stuff and getting this story that I had no chance. But it was fun hanging out with the people that do. And what all you guys don't understand is this journalism Tampa media thing has been such a learning thing for a 59-year-old fat-ass construction worker that has had the opportunity to get my Tampa Bay media credential and just be on the fringe of what's going on. This is going to make 2026 exciting for Jimbos. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited for me, and that's cool. So, anyways, Zach Robinson is the new OC for Tampa Bay Bucks, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good fit. He's already said he's bringing a couple of his boys from Atlanta. So a couple more coaching changes will be happening out of Atlanta coming to the Bucks. I wouldn't be so surprised to see a couple players coming from Atlanta, especially a backup running back. I think that's going to happen. So we'll see how it all goes. And then moving on into the offensive coordinator program, we also had this change happen. Dayball, he was great up in Buffalo, didn't work out, kind of run into the same things that McDermott did up there, and just not getting anywhere with that dumpster fire that's going on at the Bills. So he goes to the Giants, on and on and on. No players, no, going through a rebuild. Just didn't work out. So the guy ends up jobless. Now he's ending up at Tennessee as a new offensive coordinator. I think this is a good move. I hope he pushes, Ward to run the football as much as he did Jackson Dart. So we'll see what happens there. But I think this is a good hire. I think this helps, Salas at the head coach position coming back into it. I think this is a good fit. It also brings some comedy for me into the show. Look at all these dudes. One thing in common. These dudes all got a light beacon, shiny, bald-ass head. So, Scooter down there in Lakeland, you might be able to get yourself a position, Scooter. Hey, Scooter, Lakeland, you listening? I doubt it because you've walked away from, some of the best things that went on. But anyways, Scooter, I think you might have a spot in this coaching lineup. You ought to run up there to Tennessee, put your app in, and maybe you can get away from that pothead you're hanging around with and do yourself some good. But anyways, these bald-headed dudes that are hanging out in Tennessee, they're pulling together. They're doing great things. We'll see what parody we can do with this a little bit later on, but we'll have some fun with it. But looking forward to Tennessee. I love Cam Ward. I like Robert Salas. I think he's a good coach. Again, it's a one-and-done deal, and probably Dayball ends up with a head coaching job after that's all over. But anyway, moving on. So we got that out of the way. Oh, check this out. This is pretty important right here. All right. So all these OCs and defensive coordinator jobs that opened up, I am so proud of Liam Cohen and the management up in Jacksonville. It finally looks like somebody's getting ahead of the game. Somebody's realizing we got to spend money. Somebody's realizing we just had a great season and we need to secure our offensive coordinator and our defensive coordinator. Hats off to Jacksonville Jaguars. You guys did a great job securing these two. You had a great season. Your defense was awesome. You got to keep this defensive coordinator. Your offense moved the football. Tag team OC with the head coach, which was, background OC. This looks real good for Jacksonville going into next year. This was a very pivotal move. If I had to say, out of all the coordinator moves, out of all the assistant coaches moves, this was probably the most important and smart play by any team that jumped ahead of their game and made this happen to keep these two in Jacksonville. So I think this was a great move by Jacksonville. I'm looking forward to what Trevor Lawrence and the boys can do next year. They got a solid start, a solid, recoup and getting back on track. So I'm thinking big things for Jacksonville next year. Send me out a chat. Let me know what you guys think about these two, and we can chat about it. So, all right. So now we're going to move up into where are we going next? Oh, we're going all the way up here to Buffalo. We're going to go all the way up to New York, Buffalo. Guess who that guy is? Yeah. No, that's not who they just hired. That's Trader Scum, the Buffalo on the Buffalo train on the, this Trader Scum is just beyond belief. He's up there in Buffalo trying to get ahead of the Joe Brady hire, which I said was probably going to happen last week, and it did. They hired Joe Brady as their head coach, offensive coordinator. All right, so let's talk about that a little bit, Trader Scum. What do you think about that hire? Come on, talk to me. Jump in chat and talk to me. I know you got something to say. You're one of our top trolls, so jump in there, buddy. But anyways, this Joe Brady thing, guys, check this out. All right, you take McDermott and you fire the guy, right? You keep your GM with Bean. You keep him. You hire your offensive coordinator that was just under Sean McDermott, and you're saying that you're ready for 2026. I don't know what kind of move this is to get better, because the offensive coordinator been calling all the plays all year. What's he going to do that he didn't already do in 2025? Now, I actually like it from the standpoint, let me back up. I actually like it from the standpoint that if they give this kid some rope and they get him a wide receiver one, like I've been saying all goddamn year. The Buffalo Bills failed, not because of Josh Allen trying to be Superman, not because of Sean McDermott, not because of the GM, not because of Coleman. They sucked because they did not have a wide receiver one. They did not have a way to push the ball downfield like they needed to do. You are not going to excel in the playoffs and get to the next level from a Bills standpoint if you don't have a wide receiver one. They got garbage at wide receiver. Garbage at wide receiver. And until they address that, they are not going to get out of the first or second round of the playoffs in 2026. I don't care if it's Joe Brady. I don't care if it's Bill Belichick. I don't care if it's John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh. It's not going to make a difference. Until these cats spend some money in free agency and go and get a number one. It ain't coming out of the draft. It's not. You go ahead and say, oh, we'll get Lemon. You're not even going to get close to Lemon. And Lemon ain't going to make the difference as a rookie. They need to go out and buy somebody in free agency. And if they don't do that, it's going to suck for Trader Scum. It's going to suck for Josh Allen. And it's going to suck for Joe Brady and all the management above. That's my take on that. So take it or leave it. Enough said on the Bills. And we're going to move on. All right, so let's talk about the other big news today, and it was this. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Hall of Fame today with Bill Belichick. He stole the headlines all the way across, even without his sexy girlfriend out there shaking her ass. Bill Belichick stole the sports world's hearts today. So whoever hated Bill Belichick prior to definitely got on his side today. Now, I suggest Bill Belichick just sits back and shuts his mouth and lets the press and lets the fans and let everybody else prove his point. All right? I'm not a big-time Bill Belichick liker, okay? I think the guy's got a personality like a goddamn, I don't know what you want to, turtle, okay? I think he's grumpier than an old grandpa sitting on his fucking rocking chair. This guy, I don't like him, but he's a goddamn good head coach. You don't get 6 Super Bowls as a head coach, 2 Super Bowls as an assistant defensive coach, whatever you want to call him, defensive coordinator. To me, this guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Okay. So let's talk about why he didn't get the vote today. Okay, so why he didn't get the votes to get in, why 11 other people did not vote. He didn't get the 80%. And we'll talk about why the elephant in a room, like Scooter would say down there in Lakeland, the elephant in the room is Bill Pullen. It's plain and simple. This guy politic like a goddamn politician out of D.C. to not let this guy in on year one is a straight through ballot. Okay, so all right, so Pullen gets done what he wanted to get done because of past in Spygate, Deflategate, whatever you want to say. All right. Here's my take on this. Now let's talk about Pete Rose. Pete Rose in baseball has more artifacts, personal artifacts that Pete Rose has are in the Baseball Hall of Fame, but he is not. Okay, so let's set precedent with the Hall of Fame on whether or not you're going to get in based on a cheating situation, and that's what's happening right now. Okay. So either Bill Belichick is guilty of cheating with Spygate, which half the people say he is, half the people say he's not. All right, so, but let's set the rules and say, if you're convicted of this, now you are not eligible for the Hall of Fame until X, 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, or never. I don't give a shit what it is, but as much as I dislike Bill Belichick as a head coach, from a media standpoint, from an interview standpoint, whatever you want to call it, you got to sit back and say, the dude was successful. He was good at what he did. Okay? Was it him? Was it Tom Brady? What was it? It doesn't matter. The guy's got 6 goddamn rings and 2 other rings. And just like he said in the interview, 6 rings is not enough. Okay. The Hall of Fame committee needs to sit down, get their shit together, and start setting some precedents. Because what's going to happen, guys, we got all this buildup of all these guys, Mark Holmgren, all these coaches, all these players that keep building up. They're not in the Hall of Fame. They're not in the Hall of Fame. They have to get it together, because what's going to happen is there's going to be such a backlog of guys getting into the Hall of Fame that it's going to dilute it. And in the way this went down, I think is wrong. And again, I'm not a Bill Belichick lover. I don't really care for him. But at the end of the day, if I'm in there voting for this guy, I got to look at myself and say, is he good enough to be in the Hall of Fame? Should he be in the Hall of Fame? Or am I going to deny him my vote because of Spygate, because of cheating? And if that's the case, I need to be man enough, not like Scooter, not like, traitor scum, and sit back and say, oh, I can't take a stance on that. I can't put myself out there and say I voted against him because of Spygate. Stand up. If you're on the committee and you're making choices in these, whether people's legacies go on, you need to have balls enough to stand up and say, yeah, it was me. It was me. I voted against Bill Belichick because of Spygate. I don't care if you voted against him because of his goddamn girlfriend and you're jealous. I don't care. At least have the nads to say what's in your heart and why you voted the way you voted. Okay? That's all I'm saying. And the problem is Bill Poland, he says, oh, I don't remember how I voted. How the fuck you tell me you don't remember how you voted yesterday for a coach in the Hall of Fame? You're already in the Hall of Fame, Jack. You mean to tell me one of the most decorated head coaches in the NFL, you can't remember how you voted? Huh. Really? That's like Scooter telling me he used to be my friend, but he forgot that he gave up on a relationship. That's kind of how that goes. But anyways, all right. So anyway, let's move on to something fun, something that's getting ready to happen, and it's this deal down here in Florida. We got the outside hockey series stadium game like they play up north. Been playing these outside games up north. Has got great following. And then, they did it in Miami, and everybody said, whoa, that ain't going to work. Well, they basically did it inside in Miami, but kind of outside. It worked out. Tampa Bay this week is going to do the stadium series with the Lightning and the Bruins. Come Sunday night at 6:30, they've taken Raymond James Stadium and they've built an outside ice rink. Okay, now the canopy you see out there at Raymond James, that'll be taken down for the game. What they did is they were preparing for warm weather up in the 70s that they could maintain the ice so these guys could play hockey outside at 6:30 at night in Tampa Bay, Florida. Now check this out. We in Tampa Bay, Florida are predicted to have the coldest temperatures we've ever seen. We are talking about 30-some degrees. They're talking about a high of 42 degrees on Sunday night to play this game, with the wind chills down in the upper 20s, with possible, just like what they get up in Michigan and Chicago, lake effect snow. But we're going to go ahead and call it Gulf of America effect snow. So they are actually calling for Saturday night lake effect, Gulf effect snow flurries. And this couldn't have played better into Tampa Bay's hands. We also have Gasparilla going on, and it's going to be a party. It's going to be a drunken mess. This will probably be one of the greatest sports stories in NHL history right here in Tampa Bay, Florida in February. This is crazy. You could the ice hockey NHL gods are looking down on the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Boston Bruins in the Tampa Bay area for this game. This should be nothing but cool as shit. So we're looking forward to that. And by the way, we had a sighting while we were talking about Scooter and Trader Scum. This dude showed up in Florida today. Now, I don't know if Sorry for Kissing Ass is trying to learn how to ride a Harley, or if he just likes wild pigs. But there was a sorry for kissing ass sighting on the side of the road right here in Tampa Bay, Florida. I don't know. Did he come down here just to get away from the snow and ice up there in Jersey, New York, wherever the hell he's from up there? But this is sorry for kissing ass, showed up down here trying to act like he's ready to ride a Harley hog. And I don't even know if his fat ass can get on it, but maybe so. We'll see what happens. All right. Moving on to the next one. We're going to talk about this kid for just a minute. You guys know I'm a Devy guy. You know it's getting ready to Devy pick and look at some of these guys coming into the NFL. This kid right here is someone that is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers radar for defensive end. All right. This Cassius Howell kid can play defense. So if Bain don't make it to Tampa Bay, I sure as hell hope Tampa Bay jumps this dude in the first round, because this guy is a beast and would make great play in Tampa Bay at defensive end. So I know you guys in Devy always get on my ass because I only got one Devy IDP league out of like 15. But I'm a Devy guy and I'm an IDP guy. And I'm telling you, this kid is going to be a wrecker on defense. He is going to be in the backfield. He is going to be a great pickup. If Jason Light can get this kid on his radar, we'll see what happens, and hopefully he makes the cut. Along as we were talking about Belichick, and we were talking about all the other bullshit with Bill Belichick gets told, no way, Hall of Famer, but yet Shedeur Sanders makes the Pro Bowl. Now, how the hell does that happen? Seriously. You can't even make this shit up. The NFL is so hooked on a story, so hooked on, I don't know what you want to call it. I got to think for a minute. So while I think about this for a minute, like my good friend says down in Louisiana, while I think about why Shedeur Sanders is making a Pro Bowl and Bill Belichick's not making the Hall of Fame, while we wait, I'm going to hydrate. It's what my good friend does down in Louisiana. A little bit of something on a cracker. But anyways, back to the Shedeur thing. How'd that happen? So you got guys like Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, some of them, Bo Nix, some of them said, I decline. I don't want to play in your fake flag football game. Sorry, I'd rather go to the Bahamas. I'd rather go to Cancun with my wife than to play in your Pro Bowl, because it's junk. It is a joke. It is a propaganda. It is a promotional catastrophe. You got guys like Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Trevor Lawrence saying, I'm not playing in the Pro Bowl. And the NFL goes out and says, oh, we're going to put Shedeur Sanders in the Pro Bowl. I don't know how you guys feel about the Pro Bowl nowadays, but I know I ain't watching it. I wouldn't lose 2 winks of sleep. I wouldn't miss taking the wife out for sushi to watch the Pro Bowl. So the NFL has shot themselves in the foot ever since they've done it. Ever since they left Hawaii, it's done nothing but go downhill, and it's total trash, and they deserve what they get. They deserve all the criticism they're going to get. But in representation and support of Shedeur Sanders, what's he going to say? I'm not going to do it. Then everybody would have turned the tables on Shedeur and said, oh, you're too good to go to the Pro Bowl? You think you're Deion's boy and you're too good to go to the Pro Bowl? So Shedeur Sanders was set up to lose from the get. What's the kid going to do? Not accept the invite? Yeah, right. That ain't happening. But anyways, enough of that. All right, so we're going to move into how do I want to do this? Let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. All right. So we talked a little bit about fantasy football leagues. You guys all know my history with Ballsville. You guys all know my history with Scooter and Trader Scum in the whole program over there. Well, I was involved in some leagues with these people, and these people just went through a big shakeup. Reckless Ted and Yoshi, White Yoshi, had it out. And this was big, guys. This isn't just a small deal. This is way, way bigger than Ballsville. This is way bigger than what Scooter and Trader Scum got going on. This is bigger than what I got going on. All right. Reckless Ted, last year in the offseason, Reckless Ted was invited by Ballsville to be on their show. Ballsville wanted to interact with Reckless Ted. They thought he was a great dude. They thought, man, this guy's got a huge following. Huge following. He's got 2,300, 2,500 Discord followers. This cat's got 400 fantasy football leagues. 400. Okay? Well, I don't know how it all went down, but during this time of Reckless Ted and his Funland Discord and everything, when I was at Ballsville, I thought, okay, Alex kind of wanted to break bread with Reckless Ted. Scott thought he was kind of a cool dude. Clem thought he was kind of a cool dude. So we'll break bread with Reckless Ted. Reckless Ted comes on our podcast back at Ballsville. Great night. Had fun. Talked about all kinds of great shit. Well, later as things went on, Reckless Ted got a little, I don't know, offended, thought maybe Alex was trying to move in on his Discord or whatever, okay? I was on his Discord too. At that time, this is all preseason, spring, early summertime, this all shit went down. Reckless Ted tells Alex, all right, I don't want no part of you. I think you are moving in on my Discord. I don't want you advertising on my Discord. And felt a little threatened, I think. Now, I was on the Discord. I thought, okay, I'll jump in a few of Reckless Ted's leagues just to see what they are. I'm a DGen. I don't give a shit where I play fantasy football. I jumped in a few of his leagues, right? And had fun drafting with some of them cats. Some of them guys are fun guys. And we had fun drafting. It was great. Actually had a great couple drafts out of there. And had one bad one. And had a great year with them. Finished third, I think, in one of his leagues. Had a chance to finish third in the other one. I didn't. And then the other one, I kind of fell short because of injuries. But invested into 2027 in picks. So it was looking good going into this year, right? So everything goes good. It comes time for payoffs. Payoffs go great. Reckless Ted is sending out all these things talking about how great it's going to be. He's going to grow his Discord. He's going to grow his fantasy leagues from 400 members. He's shooting for 1,000. He's shooting for the stars. Well, just like at Ballsville, Alex can't do it by himself at Ballsville. Reckless Ted can't do it by himself there. Jimbo's can't do it by myself here. And Trader Scum and Scooter are going to find out they can't do it by themselves either unless they're going to stay real small. So it kind of got out of hand. And after payoffs got done, I can tell you this, okay? You got White Yoshi. You got White Yoshi over here, okay? You got White Yoshi, you got Reckless Ted, and you got some of these other cats that are managers just like Alex had at Ballsville with me being a manager. Sorry for kissing ass being a manager. whatever Trader Scum could do. Scooter, he was basically irrelevant as a manager. But regardless, okay, all these guys need help because, guys, it is a lot of work during draft time to put all these leagues together. So obviously, Reckless Ted had a relationship with White Yoshi to some degree and trusted him. For Christ's sake, White Yoshi was in charge of a certain amount of safe leagues for Reckless Ted leagues. Now, Alex doesn't even do that. Alex at Ballsville doesn't allow multiple people to control the league safes for his leagues. Very smart choice, because this, guys, is where it got real stupid, okay? Because now, I think where all this went down was in one of the leagues I was in. Reckless Ted was somewhat the commissioner, and White Yoshi held the rights to the league safe account in that league. So there was some pissing matches between some players with White Yoshi and other players in the league all year long. These cats didn't like each other. So they'd say smart-ass things. They'd stir the pot, and it kind of became an ongoing thing during the year. In White Yoshi, he doesn't pull any punches. He tells it how it is. He's kind of like Jimbo's. If he's got something on his mind, he's going to say it. He don't give a shit if it hurts your feelings and offends you, or he's going to speak it. And that's kind of what happened in that league. And one day, Reckless Ted shows up, and I don't know. I don't know how this happens, because I could get it if White Yoshi was not the man in charge of the money in League Safe. I get it. If he's just a regular player like me, you, or the next guy, but this guy controls the goddamn League Safe for this league, and Reckless Ted just fucking lunches him. Removes him from the league, spot on. You're out. Whoa, okay. But at that time, I didn't even know. I was not aware that White Yoshi controlled the league safe. So here's all of us players. We're all sitting here and all this shit's going down, right? So you got some of these guys that are behind White Yoshi saying, well, I didn't really think he said that much out of line. And then you got the other guys that are dead set against White Yoshi that said, oh, that's all bullshit, da-da-da-da-da. So now all of a sudden you got a league split. And like Trader Scum would say, drama. Well, you know me. I'm around the drama, so if y'all don't like drama, don't hang around me. But it was kind of funny because all of a sudden we're getting ready to renew this league, and all of a sudden shit's not happening. People aren't getting paid. Things aren't happening. People aren't getting their... Okay, let's back up just a little bit. When Reckless Ted removed White Yoshi, he told everybody else that he removed that day, because he removed like 3 players like within minutes over this. And he said, I'll refund you if you apply for a refund. I got to give him that, because Westlack's Alex at Ballsville, he don't refund nobody, including me, because he's a pussy. If I paid my dues and you remove me, you need to be paying me. Okay? Now, I will say this about White Yoshi. He said, everybody that was in his league safe, I will refund you. Same with Reckless Ted. He said, if you're in my league and I removed you, I'll refund you. That's one thing that they got over that bullshit thing out there in Fresno, California with Ballsville, because Alex don't do that. You want to know what he does? He removes you, keeps the money, and takes it from you, keeps it for himself, and whatever player he decides to fill your shoes when you leave, or he removes you. That's how Alex does it. And that's why I left, because that's bullshit. So I at least got to give Reckless Ted some props that he said he would refund anybody that applied for that he removed. Same with Yoshi. He said, I'll refund all y'all. And he did. And so did Reckless Ted. The problem is, the big problem is this. For some reason, Reckless Ted and Yoshi both got banned from Sleeper. They got banned from Sleeper. So all of us players are sitting here with our dick in our hands saying, okay, what do we do now? What do we do? Guys, this all goes back to the same thing I've been preaching to you. Vet your commissioners. Vet your leagues before you join them. Understand what they're about. Do your history check on your commissioners and your leagues that you are joining. Because it's going to save you bullshit. Because all of us in these leagues, we're now sitting here with no commissioner that can help us on the sleeper side. We got to run to LeagueSafe and try to communicate with these guys in charge of LeagueSafe. Reckless Ted took some of his leagues from LeagueSafe, changed the name of who is in charge of the LeagueSafe without even checking with the leagues. I don't know who Chad is. I have no idea. One day Chad's in charge of LeagueSafe after Reckless Ted's not. And the next day, Reckless Ted removes him again. So obviously there was some tension. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out because we have some guys that are going to come on as guests that were involved in the close quarters of the Reckless Ted program. But here's another thing. Okay, so Reckless Ted is banned from Sleeper, and he's got a big spiel. I got a screenshot of it I can show you, where he's kissing ass with Sleeper trying to figure out why he's banned and wants to prove his case of what he's done. On the other hand, Yoshi really don't give a shit, and he's doing what he wants to do. He's moving on, and he could give a shit about Reckless Ted and is going to go on in 2026 and do his own thing, somewhat like what Trader Scum and Scooter are doing, and somewhat what I'm doing after leaving Ballsville the way we left Ballsville. Both of these had great intentions when they started. Now, I will say this. Ballsville's way better run than Reckless Ted. So any of you guys that were at Reckless Ted and with Yoshi, don't be afraid to look into Ballsville. I will tell you one thing. Okay? I will tell you one thing. Ballsville has the best operated leagues that I've ever played in my entire life. However, there is a catch. Alex runs a very, very tight ship. And there's only one thing that I disagree with the way Alex does business. When he removes you, he does not refund you. That is bullshit. Okay? I don't care if he likes what I say or likes what another player says, or when there's a disagreement. Now, if you can go into Ballsville and keep your mouth shut, totally shut, and don't get involved in any management position, don't get involved in anything, and just play fantasy football, you will have fun and you will enjoy it. However, their wagering system is a collective system, which I totally disagree with collective fantasy football. You guys know how I feel about that. But if you're going to play in a redraft or you're going to play in a best ball, you got to remember everything they do at Ballsville is all collective. So they build all these big pots, and you get very little for winning a championship, but you are available to bet your winnings against other players in other leagues amongst a lot of players. Collective. I don't like it. But from a standpoint of a commissioner that's going to be there for you every day, work the hours, unlike Trader Scum and Scooter, who are not there every day. Now, they're getting ready to start a bunch of their fantasy leagues too. from let's not talk about loyalty with them two. I was going down the road. From the way they would run their leagues, I don't think Scooter and Trader Scum would ever steal from you. I will say that. Okay? They're not the type of guys that are going to rake money off the top and take it. They're not the type of guys that aren't going to pay you. But Trader Scum is a loose cannon and could have some reckless Ted tendencies, but not to the level of reckless Ted. So I would say Sudden Death Fantasy Sports is a good place to play. They're a startup. You guys know I promoted them from day one, all through the Ballsville days. I promote them as fantasy football degenerates. I haven't seen any of their leagues come out. They have kind of turned their back on me because I'm about drama and I'm about telling the truth. And those guys don't like the truth. They don't like to be in the bullshit. They like to sit back. They'll talk all this shit behind the scenes on how they feel, but they don't have the nads or the balls to tell the truth. And that's okay. That's fine. So as you guys get ready to do your fantasy leagues going forward in 2026, you guys that need a home from Reckless Ted, Balls. Now, I'm just going to tell you from how I feel, and I'll rate them at this level. I would say if you want to go big and you want to play in a lot of different formats and you want to play in collective leagues, go to Ballsville. Look up Alex, look up Ballsville, go there. You'll have fun. Just keep your mouth shut. If you're like some of the guys in the leagues I've been in at Reckless Ted, and some of the guys in some other leagues I've got, if you're a boisterous type of guy and you like to kind of bitch and you kind of like to say how you speak your mind, don't go to Ballsville because Alex will lunch your ass. Boom. If you want to do some new startups and you're into guillotine and you're into brackets and you're into guys keeping spreadsheets, which you guys know how I feel about spreadsheets. I don't like them. Then go to Sudden Death Fantasy Sports. Look up Scooter, look up Trader Scum, and you'll probably have fun there. Okay, they got a good following. They got some great people behind them. They're building fast. They're doing everything that Alex thought that they intended to do that didn't have balls enough to say they were going to do. They're doing those things now. So Alex was right in what they're doing. Reckless Ted, on the other hand, I have no clue what's going to happen with this. I'm interested to see how it all goes down. There's claims. Now, these are just claims. I don't have any type of proof of any of this. But you don't get banned from Sleeper because you had it out with someone in your leagues. So there's something going on at Reckless Ted in the fantasy funland. We'll get to the bottom of it. Just like I told you guys from day one, I expose all of this stuff. It's been on the radar. It's been coming. We'll see how it happens. I got some guests that are going to come on that got a little bit closer intel than I do, other than the leagues I was in and how it went down. Yes, I got all my refunds from Yoshi, White Yoshi. Thank you very much, dude, for living up to your word. Reckless Ted, I want to thank you for keeping your word and saying you would refund people. And I also want to send out a big thanks to Heady World in the Reckless Ted realm. You believed so much in one of our leagues that you went over and beyond. I don't know how you got it done. I have no clue on how you got it done. But out of all the leagues I was in over there, he was able to get control of the league from Reckless Ted as a commissioner before all that went down. He was also able to get control of the league safe. Now, this league safe was not White Yoshi. It was Reckless Ted. And Heady World came in and kind of saved the day for the league. Now, I don't know these other players that are involved, JGNG. He is now commissioner of this league. And also this guy right here, I want to send a huge shout out to this guy. He's got organization. He has leagues outside of Reckless Ted. He also was probably 14, 15 leagues at Reckless Ted, but he also has his own leagues. And this cat came in T-Mill 85. I want to thank you for taking over this league, getting it straightened out. We didn't lose too many guys, and we salvaged this league. So big shout out to you guys, because it shows how much people love fantasy football and aren't just willing to turn their back. That's why, guys, you'll always see with me that in our Inner Circle fantasy sports leagues that we do here at Inner Circle, we charge 3 years up front on our dynasties. Okay, you pay the league that you pay the year that we're starting, you pay the next year and the next year. And we do that for a reason. Because in Devy leagues, I've learned that if a guy is willing to pay 3 years up front on $50, $100, because I don't like doing $15, $20 leagues. I do them when I don't have a whole lot left in my bank, get league safe, and I'm having that, in the arm fix for a draft. I'll do a $15, $20 league. I got a big heart for orphans, so I pick up a lot of cheap leagues that way. Guys, I've gotten rid of a lot of cheap leagues so I can concentrate on what we're doing going forward. But back to why I charge 3 years up front. Because every league I've been involved in, from a Devy to a dynasty, regular dynasty, or repeat redrafts, we even got repeat redrafts that we do 3 years up front. Because it's the same guys we've been playing with for 5, 6, 8, 10 years. And if you're a true degenerate, that's what you want. If you're an active fantasy football guy, that's what you want. You don't want all this drama of every goddamn year you get done getting paid out, 3 to 5 guys drop out, and all the fucking work you did to try to build a dynasty league goes out the window, because then the goddamn commissioner gets depressed and he says, I'm going to nuke the league. What? It's just depressing. So you guys got to do your homework. Don't be afraid to ask questions. When you join a league, don't just pay and join. Ask the guys that are in there, what's going on? Go through some of the old chat and look at it. Back up into the last year and look at the chat. Look at the guys you're playing with. Find out what the league is about just before you spend your money. Okay? Now, Reckless Ted wanted to get big. Alex at Ballsville. He likes to get big so he can rake money off the top and make side change for himself. He likes to be able to pay for his leagues without having to do it out of his pocket. He likes the rake. Okay? That's why he does collective. That's why he does his little poker betting against each other wagering system that he does so he can play with the payout. Now, how Trader Scum and Scooter decide to do theirs, I truly believe I know Scott well enough that he's going to do it right. So don't be afraid to check them guys out. They're new, and just because they're new, don't be afraid to go check them out. Because I honestly think their football leagues will be very fun for a lot of you degenerates. However, I'd be real careful with Trader Scum. He's got a temper, and he likes to spout off. But Scooter tends to keep him in check because he's got a leash on him. When you're a pothead sitting up out in Las Vegas living off of mommy's money and auntie's money, it's easy, especially when you got Scooter keeping you on a leash. So anyways, that's the way it is. If you want to get involved in Inner Circle, I like to keep it small. I could give a shit less about being big. Don't care. Just like this show. I don't care about being big. I care about having fun, and I care about telling the truth. The truth is what Jimbo's is about. That's why there's a drama with Jimbo's. Because when I see people not telling the truth, and I see people hiding behind veils, and I see people doing the things that they're doing, and I see people that aren't willing to talk openly in public, but behind closed doors, and when the lights are off, they talk a whole nother story. That ain't me. I tell it like it is. You're either in or you're out. So if y'all want to tune in on Saturday, we're going to have a special guest from the Reckless Ted program. And I'm not going to expose who his name is, but he'll be able to shed a little bit more light on the situation, and we'll all see where we're going. Again, T Mill 85, thank you so much for what you're doing, bro. You saved us. It's just been crazy this year. It's been a crazy fantasy football year, all the way from the injuries in the NFL through everything else, all these leagues. It's just been crazy. And we at Inner Circle want to try to make it simple. Our Inner Circle app has just really been a blessing. The people that I had put into place, I put in two, not 5, not 10, 2. And the biggest thing I told them is I said, guys, here's what I want out of you. I want you to vet our players. I want you to vet our owners. Don't just let them in the league because they're willing to pay you. Do your research on these guys and vet them. Talk to them. So what's really been unique, and you guys will see as time goes on and all these big folks try to fill their leagues, because when they got 7, 8, 9, 10 guys sitting there already paid, waiting to fill the league to get started, it's pressure. Because the guys that are sitting there to pay their money, they want to go. So the commissioner and the managers have to start finding people. You'll watch them scramble. Watch Alex scramble. Watch Trader Scum scramble. They're all scrambling to fill their leagues. Here at Inner Circle, I ain't scrambling eggs, Jack. Either you want to play with me and play for Inner Circle and DFS Advisor, or you don't. And I could give a shit less either way, because I don't rake, I don't play brackets, and I don't take your money. And if you happen to get removed out of an Inner Circle league because of your mouth or your cheating, you will be refunded. I will refund you no matter what if I remove you. Unlike Alex, who will remove you, keep your money, give it to his buddy, and keep going. Because he owes me over $400 or $500 between my manager fees and the leagues he stole from me and not paid me. That'll never happen in Inner Circle. I will refund you just like White Yoshi did, and I will refund you just like Reckless Ted did. Okay? So, if you quit on your own and it's after the deadline, well, I guess you're screwed. That money will go towards an orphan. But if I remove you, you will get refunded, I promise you, that day. So, it's been a crazy night. We had some fun talking about football. We had some fun talking about all the leagues that we're all getting ready to dive into and go forward with our 2026 season. So good luck with that. Don't forget about our Devies. We have 2 Devy leagues left and 1 Dynasty league left. So if you guys are interested in those, our best balls will be ongoing. I'll do them probably till draft time, NFL draft time. After NFL draft time, the best ball shit will stop. And then we'll really get into our Devies and finish our 2 Devy leagues that are left. And then, the 1 Devy that's left. And then we will concentrate on our 2 Dynasty leagues. And remember, those types of leagues, the Devi dynasties and our regular dynasties are 3 years up front. So you're looking at a minimum to join any of those leagues of $150 up front. So save your money if you want to play in some quality leagues, and we'll go from there. And always remember what Trader Scum says. He's got drama-free leagues over there. I can promise you there is no drama-free. It's all drama. So we at Inner Circle take advantage of the drama. We look for it for content. We have fun with it. We do our parodies. And speaking of which, we didn't talk about our parodies today. Let's do that. Let's where's our parody stuff? Where'd they go? Anyway, I guess our parody department went to sleep. Hey Carl, where's the parody shit? Anyways, it's not there. He don't got it. But anyways, we do got 2 parodies starting up. And we will touch base on those. The Dollsville with a D, not a B. The Dollsville parodies have finished up. We had a great time with it. Thanks for Sierra. Thanks for Sorry for Kissing Ass in El Presidente, the bald-headed crew. Thanks for your guys' participation. It was great fun. Nobody got hurt. Everybody had fun. And looking forward to the next 2 that are getting ready to drop. So enough said from Jimbo's. We'll see you guys Saturday night at 7 p.m. Tune in on Saturday night at 7 p.m. for a special guest, and we'll go from there. Have a good rest of your week. See y'all.